TV for life.
Good evening and welcome to Face for the Newsfirst team. I'm Niresh Eliatamvi. My guest this evening is Mr. Nuwan Bopage, attorney at law and National Executive Committee member of the People's Struggle Alliance, who is joining our program after some time. Good evening, Nuwan.
How are you? Good evening, Niresh. Fine.
Right. Lovely to have you back on the show. So Nuwan, let's talk about Sri Lankan politics because as our viewers will recall, you were in the thick of the Aragala back in 2022 and during those epic goal face days, of course, when everything was in the balance. And now 3.5 years later, let's take a look at how things have panned out. So first and foremost, a few days ago, Nuwan, we had a cabinet reshuffle, not a massive one, but there were some new appointments, a few cabinet ministers and about 10 deputy ministers. What do you make of these appointments, and can we really call it a cabinet reshuffle?
Technically, you can't actually say it's a cabinet reshuffle. Ultimate result was new portfolios have been given to few deputy ministers and few portfolios removed and shared among the other ministers. That is what happened. So we cannot see that there was some sort of the government. It has direct connection to government future policies or strategies. So it's just some sort of their internal arrangement rather than taking it as a change of a cabinet or reshuffle of cabinet with concurrently to the policy changes or strategic changes. We can consider it as just another move of the government.
Okay, now let's look back on the Aragala, as I said, 3.5 years ago and today. Back then, of course, no one knew what the future held. You didn't, I didn't, no one knew. Certainly Mr. Gotabaya Rajapaksa didn't. But we've come a long way on this journey. Are you happy with the direction the country is heading in? Do you think we could have done better, especially where growth is concerned? And it's of course not the sole responsibility of the NPP government. There was the Ranil Wickremesinghe regime before that. And of course, in the end, all Sri Lankans bear responsibility. But what are your thoughts looking back?
Yeah, now first of all, we should understand the situation now. The 2022 Aragala was not mere another spontaneous struggle. So it's a reflection of the crisis of neoliberal economy. So very lightly one can interpret it because of the failure of Gotabaya Rajapaksa or Rajapaksa regime. It was occurred. So we never took it like that. What we believe, it's a crisis of this neoliberal or other than the capitalism. So then you said about the Aragala. During the Aragala, of course, as a movement, as People's Struggle Alliance, actually those days we were inside the Aragala as Frontline Socialist Party. I was there. We had an idea this historical movement should be converted to a system change. So we were there in the Aragala with that aspiration. If we once again look at the results of the Aragala, I think the NPP was able to somehow reap the fruits out of the Aragala. What they did, they converted it to votes, and ultimately they were able to win the elections. So that is the general result of the Aragala. But what was the actual aspirations and objectives of the Aragala? To change the system. System means to change the economic system, to change the democratic or the governance, and at the same time to give concrete solution to issues like national question. So, these are the main elements of the Aragala, main aspirations of the Aragala. As far as these objectives are concerned, we are actually so unhappy the things, how things are unfolded right now, especially the government economic policy is concerned. Not, we cannot just say they don't want to, they have no, they don't have that capacity to change the economic system. Actually, now most of their statement shows they fully sponsor the system which has been carried out by the previous regimes, especially the Ranil Wickremesinghe, without doing any changes. So, they are completely pro system government, pro system movement. So, therefore, there is no, it is very clear there won't be any change of the economic system, this neoliberal economic system. Democracy is concerned, of course, now we know at least during the Palane, this Maithripala Sirisena was compelled to remove certain powers of the president. Now, from very inception, from 1994 election, the JVP took up a position that you have to completely abolish the executive president. What is the purpose of that? Purpose of that, it's from the very beginning, democracy wise, it was not a very healthy system, this presidential system. So, now however, now this government, they certain statement shows that they never take any steps to abolish the executive presidency. At the same time,
well, that's still up in the air. I mean, they say they will.
Yes.
But well, it's been 1 year and we haven't seen any concrete moves as such. But at the same time, they never went back on that. They don't say that they won't abolish it. However, writing a new constitution takes many years. So, when we could have this done is a question.
The dialogue regarding the new executive, new constitution also now has been faded. So, they are not telling anything about that. So, what we feel, they are very comfortable about the existing system, this executive president system. So, they just want to maintain the same system. That's what that's a reflection of the government. So, at the same time, very simple things like that, to abolish PTA, OSA, kind of things also now it seems that they are not willing to do immediately. So, democracy wise also now we are not happy about the way the government now going on. The other thing is, now you know, just before completion of the 1 year, president went to Jaffna and declared open certain projects. So, we also astonished what is happening here. Then only we realize, because of when they completing the first year of the government, they just wanted to tell something. Now, we did something for North. So, that is not the expectation of the North when people voting, giving that historical vote for NPP, deviating from their traditional nationalist parties, was to give, their expectation was to take some sort of political solution for national question. But that dialogue also not there in this government. They are not telling anything about that. So, they are just doing certain things just to satisfy their vote base. Other than that, they are not doing anything about national question. So, these three main things are concerned. We believe that this government, there is no considerable difference between this government and the previous government. So, the sad part is, after a struggle, as you said, and after a historical decision of the people in 2024, if this government cannot take the fruits out of that and change the entire system, ultimate result, this might be culminated because of the desperation of the people. This can be go to a far right wing or far fascist movement to take over the control. So, we believe at least this government should take certain radical decisions to change the system. Otherwise, this will be ended up with very bad manner.
Now, several times you mentioned changing the system. The system change that the entire country demanded over the last 3.5 years. And the NPP promised a lot, so did the SJB, so did most parties. But we see the system change is rather slow. Are you disappointed in that, or do you feel that given the level of the bureaucracy in this country, that it, changing the system, the systems is easier said than done?
This is not the issue of matter of speed. For instance, after 2024 victory, the entire country came to a juncture. So, one path was Ranil Wickremesinghe's previous path, following the same neoliberal system, adopting same policies. The other path is completely alternative. So, what we suggested, we should go to a complete alternative, progressive, left-oriented political change in the economy. That's what we suggested. So, that is our suggestion. We don't say that NPP was in same idea, but why we suggested that, that's the most important thing. Now, recently IMF they issued analysis regarding the IMF recent debt restructuring plan. What the indication given by IMF, 2028, from 2028 we have to once again pay the installments, loan installment for ISBs. They indicated that the economy of the country is not still compatible to take that challenge. Therefore, there is a risk, and the most important thing is they in a subtle manner they said, we are not going to take over the responsibility of this. This is a responsibility of the government to strengthen the fiscal policy and macroeconomic policies. If you are unable to do that, entire system will be collapsed. So, but that is not what the NPP and Ranil Wickremesinghe express when they expressing their ideas, that is not the message they given to the society. For the society, what they said, the only available path, only breathing space is with IMF. So, while going through this path only, we can overcome this economic crisis. Now, IMF coming and saying that no, it is your duty, we just came to facilitate this. If you are unable to meet these expectations, you will be in a serious, you have to face consequences of that. Then who suggested, I will take one example, who suggested us to trigger the debt installment interest to GDP growth? So, there is a condition in the IMF plan, that the debt installment or the payment method directly connected to annual GDP growth. If our GDP is going well, is growing better, we have to pay more.
We pay more. Yes.
We have to pay more. So, who put that condition? Now, IMF come in and say that condition is detrimental. So, that has a bad effect. Those who ask us to introduce it now come in and saying, why you agreed upon this condition. So, ultimate result was our creditors, ISB holders, they will be benefited out of this. Now, it seems our GDP growth is very good right now, comparatively. Now, it has become 99 billion rupees. So, it's a good growth. How it has been grown? That is because of people's labor, they work hard, and to certain extent our production economy, it seems there is some sort of growing and export oriented economy. So, that is because of the much dedication of the people, workers. As a result of only we could see this growth. When this growth is there, who will gain the benefit out of that? once again creditors, not the people. Now, for instance, at the same time the World Bank made a statement that poverty level is now so high, and they said that Sri Lankan people are suffering a lot because of the poverty. So, that is the World Bank statement. So, it has a direct connection with, because people sacrifice their life, their day to day exploitation is so high. So, people work hard to develop the country, and the ultimately benefit should go to the people. But what they are doing, they once they earn, they pay high taxes, electricity tariff, and all the goods and services prices are very high. So, ultimately the benefit going to some third party creditors. Who did that deal? IMF did. Now, can IMF say that no, we are not responsible? That's why we said from the very beginning, if you are going ahead with IMF plan, their condition, there must be a meticulous scrutiny regarding the content. Without going through it, without having proper analysis, without having forensic audit on debt, you should not go for IMF conditions. But what they said, no, you are immatured, you don't know the macroeconomic conditions, so therefore it is not practicable, it is not feasible. Now, people have to face the repercussions.
But Nuwan, the IMF, in the end, they are like your banker. They are an external party. It's up to us to decide what's best for us.
Of course.
And growing the economy is not something the IMF can do. They are not a marketing organization. It's us, Sri Lanka,
exactly.
Sri Lankans, and the government.
Exactly. That's what we suggested. The government should directly talk to creditors, bilateral loans. So, government should directly talk to them. Now, rather than going for these Paris committees kind of things, there at one stage there was a possibility, because of the struggle on people put that pressure onto the government. At the same time, it has been declared we are bankrupt. So, with these conditions, at one point of time there was a possibility to go to direct dialogue with these creditors, but government was not ready to do that, especially the Ranil Wickremesinghe, who did the much damage. And as a result of that, only IMF is come into the scene. Once IMF has come to the scene, ultimately breathing space was given to the creditors, not to the people who are actually suffering on the ground. So, that's why what now they can say, no, we are just facilitator, we are not coming, government has to manage everything, everything is on the hand of the government. Now, they can say, but no, that is not the message given to the people when they were entering into the agreements with IMF.
Now, you mentioned the need for a forensic audit on the debt. Basically, how did we get into this debt? Where was the money spent or mismanaged or siphoned off? We still don't really know. We know that we are over 30 trillion rupees in debt, and that's an enormous amount. But where it went wrong, of course, we can point to certain projects and say, well, there's this project, there's Mattala, there's Hambantota, project-wise, but there hasn't been a proper forensic audit to look at where we went wrong and how we went wrong.
Yes.
For example, when the Mattala airport was being constructed, how did that happen? Suddenly did President Mahinda Rajapaksa wake up in the morning and say, I want an airport here, and or did it come through some proper committees, and how did we get into that mess where it's an airport which is hardly used, and will never be profitable, simply because, well, who wants to fly to Mattala? But we just simply haven't done that forensic audit.
Exactly. So, it's a very important question. Now, for instance, out of this debt, considerable percentages we can consider as ODS debt, because now after 2013 only, the government has gone to the open market and get loans from international sovereign bonds. So, what's the difference between bilateral loans and these ISBCs? You need not to uh, make a project report to get these loans. So, it's just like open market. So, most of the people who are handling this market, they use it to whitewash their money and money laundering, these things, and therefore the considerable percentage is ODS debt. That's why we need a forensic audit before going to the debt restructuring. That's what the Argentina did. At one stage they felt that this IMF and these people get together and going to manipulate everything. So, then they immediately went for a the forensic audit. Then we insisted this government, okay, now you are saying Ranil Wickremesinghe has started this, then we have to follow that same path, okay, but only thing is you can easily do this forensic audit and identify what are the ODS debt, what are the unreasonable debt which are not benefited to the people. So, they were unable to do that, then people have to pay for that. That's the
now the concept of ODS debt hasn't even been properly explored, has it? I mean, we have on this program we have,
yes.
And on many other programs. I mean, basically, it is debt which should never have been taken, and it's debt which was taken in connivance with those creditors,
exactly,
who had ulterior motives. And you know, these things stick out a mile, you know, if you take the Greek bonds, which were so many years ago, so many experts were saying don't touch it because Greece had declared bankruptcy. But the central bank governor at the time defended it and said that a central bank committee has recommended it. So, you know, how did a central bank committee recommend it when it was common sense? You don't go and
you know. For the March 2022, actually, Ajit Niwad Cabral decided to pay that 500 million loan settlement, having known the fact that there was a danger of collapse in the economy. Why he did it?
It wasn't a danger of it. We knew pay that 500 million and we were finished.
We had around $2 billion reserves. So, out of which when we paid half of that, there's nothing remained. So, why he did that? If you have a very, even who's having a very simple knowledge about the economy, never do that. Why he did that? As you said, not only the primary market, secondary market also, there are people who you know, manipulate it. And
I mean, a lot of people got rich when this $500 million was paid.
Exactly.
While the country, 21 million people got poorer, and it ended up in disaster.
Because the secondary market also, majority is just they have given these loans or they purchase this bond for the sake of their own benefit, and not for the sake of the country. So, they are businessmen basically. So, they don't care about what is happening in the country, they just want profit. So, having known these facts only, all these loans were obtained and ultimately people have to suffer. So, therefore, that is why we need a forensic audit to identify this. Now, we filed a RTI application to the central bank asking at least declare what are the companies, what are the these primary and secondary level creditors. So, they are not willing to do that, the central bank. And so, why is that? At least forget it. At least you have a report to say that because we have done this forensic audit and this is the result, this is this much amount we obtained, this much of amount we can declare that countries benefited out of this, and this much of amount we have no any audit, we cannot identify what happened to this money. So, nothing. Without doing that only, they just giving some sort of security to creditors who did the damage.
Right, and all this ends up with an economic crisis, and the cost of living skyrocketed, and the cost of living, I mean, to the average person, it's prohibitive even today. Yes, inflation, which is the rate of increase, has now been brought under control, but the cost of living itself it never really went down much, did it?
Yeah, of course. Now, even uh, three days ago, the officials of IMF said that there should be further reforms in the economy, and
Well, reform is not a bad thing. Reform is, in fact, a good thing if it is done in a planned, pragmatic manner.
Yeah, so reform in the sense, those reforms are actually, when we carefully go through it, once again they are asking to sell the public assets, once again they are asking to go for ISBs, and once again they are suggesting to increase the electricity tariff. So those are the suggestions. So those austerity measures only, once again they are suggesting. So after 3 years down the line, there must be some sort of relief for the people, but they are not suggesting that. Once again they are going to as you said, the burden is shifted to the people once again who are not responsible for this crisis. So I think people also should know nothing will be changed in future, because from 2028 according to the IMF program, we have to once again start to pay the debt installments. So 2028 is the country which we can forecast, the year which we can forecast there will be another economic crisis. So we have to face for that. In order to face that, actually we have to increase our foreign reserves up to at least 15 billion US dollars. So it is government ready to do this. Now after 1 year, foreign reserves have not been considerably increased because of certain other decisions they took up to import vehicles. It has been gone down. So can we there's no, we can't imagine even to increase it to 15 billion within another 2 years. We can't. What would be the result? Result will be then once again in 2028 IMF will come up with a new plan. So if government says no, we are gradually going to get out from this IMF plan, no. That's why the Anura Kumar Disanayake president 4 days ago said we are going to whatever our policies will be strengthen the IMF policies than previously. What the indication he has given, he is willing to go ahead with the IMF even after 2028. 2028 condition will be more unhealthy as far as the people's these economic crisis and the cost of living is concerned, because though there will be very rigid conditions after 2028. So therefore people must get ready to face that. Get ready means not to give any room this government to suppress the people, and at the same time shifting the burden to the people of the economy. So they have to find another alternative avenues giving relief to the people.
Now, you mentioned the lack of a dialogue on national issues, including the economy, the new constitution, the national question, and it is somewhat lacking, isn't it? That perhaps it is because the opposition is so weak, but there doesn't seem to be a sort of all-party sort of input that is happening on any of these questions.
Yeah, the reality is there's no opposition right now. Opposition means now, rather than opposing each and everything of the government, opposition should have alternative plan, direction. What is the direction that this opposition can give to the people, to the society? Nothing. So whether Anura Kumar Disanayake president wearing his shirt properly, those are the dialogue in this
those are hardly important matters.
Yes, hardly important matters.
The main opposition parties need to get focused.
Yes. So now inside the parliament also these are debates with whom Wasantha Samarasinga is going to WTO conference. Those are the things of this opposition. Highly immaterial. Whether this opposition could tell this is the alternative for IMF and this is the alternative of this Indian intervention, nothing. So technically there is no opposition. The other thing is, now as you correctly pointed out, now for instance, now this government is concerned, the government now for certain things, now president during the UN summit, what the president said, he has a concern about the fundamental rights of the people, especially eradication of poverty. Of course, that's good, that's a good speech, but the problem is, in the country, what are the measures you have taken to that? At least in our constitution there is a chapter for directive principles, most to regarding the poverty, regarding the equality, distribution of the benefits of the economy among the people, all these are in the directive principles chapter. So, at least can you amend the constitution and give the assurance and declare them as fundamental rights, access to free education, access to free health, and access for employment, and right to have a shelter. These kind of things should be fundamental rights, but you are ready to do that. As you said, even there is no dialogue regarding that. And recently the government wanted to bring wanted to have reforms in the education sector. There is no documents. the Sajid Premadasa used the word white paper. So, let us forget it now. There must be a document. This is reforms that we are supposed to do. Nothing. There is no dialogue. Teachers doesn't know. University teachers doesn't know. The students doesn't know. Education and
but of course, education is one area which is in dire need of reform. Exactly. Everybody accepts that. Exactly. Because most of our youngsters, when they come out of school, finally to join the workforce, their skills are certainly nowhere near sufficient to do anything, basically.
So, exactly. So, we need a dialogue. Yes, if that reform is for the betterment of the society, why you are shy, why you are hiding it? You come up with that, we will give our suggestions. So, no dialogue. And at the same time, birth rate has drastically gone down, 33%, I think,
33% decline from 2018.
Yes. So, where is the dialogue regarding this? How it affects to the society? Why people are reluctant to give birth to children? Because of insecure, everything is insecure. Now, earlier 20 years ago, people were not scared to give birth because free education system is there, free health system there, public security system is very strong. So, there is assurance from the government to look after the people. So, because of that only people were not scared to do that. Now, what happened? Because that security is not there. So, what the government is doing? Once again, these reforms are focused to privatize the education. Privatize certain reforms they are going to bring to privatize the health system. So, when these public security system, that assurance is not there, what is the outcome? Outcome is this. So, therefore, we need a dialogue. We need at least from this government. So, we can't. Now, they came to power giving hundreds of promises to the people and giving some sort of hope. So, why you are scared to build this dialogue among the people? So, that is a very pathetic situation.
Of course, it must be noted that our healthcare system is free, and that is one of the big advantages of living in Sri Lanka, and the education system as well. Although education has a lot of faults, it is still free education. Now, let us look at job creation, which is one of the areas where your party, your alliance, has focused on a lot, because you champion the workers. Are you happy with the level of job creation over what it is right now? In the sense we have economic growth, but do we have enough creation of new jobs?
During the 2022-2024 period, because of the economic crisis, around 1 million jobs. People lost around 1 million jobs. Now, still there's no solution for them. At the same time, job creation is concerned, we can't see any now. Even Minister Bima Ratnayaka made a statement in the parliament. There are direct investment in the country, and there are a lot of projects going to be started, but on the ground we can't see such a development in the economy, especially the production based economy. Those are only statements, but certain areas, still the service sector area, there are certain dialogues, but we cannot see the development in that sector as well. So, therefore, job creation is inevitably, it's there's an integral connection with this investment, at the same time production. So, without improvement in these sectors, we cannot expect jobs. So, therefore, unemployment rate is very high right now. So, we can see in the society. So, no need to go to very comprehensive analysis. When we go to courthouses, when we go to the other places, we can see how the people are suffering because of unemployment. So, therefore, this even whatever through for direct investment or through local industries, there must be some sort of guideline to the society. But instead of doing that, what the government doing now, still once again they started dialogue regarding the one labor law. So, it was a plan of especially now agreements like AXA, all these things came to for reduce the cost of labor. And to now, for instance, in Sri Lanka, basically the labor, when people work, they always demand the reasonable salary. Even day workers, they are doing that. So, as a result of that, our wage limit is very high. So, what one labor law and other laws, what is the objective is to reduce that demand and get cheap labor to increase the exploitation. Now, this government also once again started that dialogue to bring one labor law, because our labor laws are very strong. It's basically workers oriented. So, they just wanted to convert it to employer oriented laws. So, who brought these policies? And at the same time, it has been connected to certain agreements we entered with India. So, when Adani come to Sri Lanka, what he want? He want cheap labor. Otherwise, he won't invest money here. So, ultimately, once again, people will be suffering in this society.
Right. I understand your point of view, Nuwan, but on the flip side, our country is very non-competitive when it comes to attracting FDI. We simply can't compete with Vietnam and Bangladesh and Malaysia and so on. And there are many reasons, of course, cost of electricity, transport, a lot of issues, but the labor laws are one of the aspects which need reform, and investors point to this all the time. So, what sort of reform is where you need a dialogue, isn't it?
Exactly. So, I think now the general thinking regarding the economy is, as you said, we have to attract foreign direct investments, and we should open the economy to multinationals, them to come in. But even when you go to the Malaysia, Philippines, Indonesia, you can see high-rise buildings. At the same time, how many new shanties there? When you go to the India, there are in Mumbai, the multi-billionaires are there. At the same time, how many new shanties are there? So, that is the reality. So, it's a myth. Merely because you bring foreign direct investment, ultimately we all doing politics for the sake of people, workers. Can they get benefit out of that.
So
That's why we need strong labor laws.
Yes, you are talking about the gap between
Exact
the rich
disparity.
and the poor. The disparity.
Yes, the disparity. So it's very high. So it's just like merely because you have now even this government also now talking about build more highways, build more high-rise buildings. That is not the reality. So merely because there are high-rise buildings, people cannot get anything out of that. So these multinational companies coming here, they invest money and they earn 5-6 from that the profit, and they going back, they are going and they take that money and invest somewhere else. So that is the capitalist economic system. So how to change this mode of production, how to change this system to people's oriented, that is the challenge we have. So likely what the inculcated in the society, when Adani comes, when these investors come, the high-rise buildings will be there, then it will become heaven. No, that is not the reality. So the sadness is all these reforms now they are doing through so-called the party which has a left history. Now earlier we can imagine when Ranil Wickremesinghe doing this, yes, he is a capitalist leader. Mahinda Rajapaksa is thinking he is a nationalist and capitalist. So when they do that, we can imagine. But these reforms now they are going to bring through a party which has a left history. So that is the pathetic situation of this. That's a pathetic situation.
Well, you of course have a far left point of view in comparison. So of course you would be critical, and that is one of the reasons that I enjoy having you on my program, because instead of just having the right-wing parties critiquing the performance of the government, it's good to have the left-wing parties as well. Now, another aspect is the economic zones in this country. We have a number of zones, but are they fulfilling their mission? Because we have relied very heavily on these zones, whether it's Katunayaka or Sidua or wherever.
Vatupitiwala.
So many of them. But are they performing as we expect, and should we be looking at a better model?
Yeah, so free trade zones now recently the BOI Act, the Ranil Wickremesinghe brought Economic Transformation Act. Through that he expected to change entire these economic zones and BOI projects, and what he wanted to do, whatever obstacles, according to him, the obstacles was this regulatory mechanism is very strong in Sri Lanka, especially regarding the environmental issues and at the same time labor issues. These laws and regulations are very strong. So there was a reason for that, because Sri Lanka is a very small country. So whatever development should be done, protecting the sustainable development things, we have to protect the environment, we have to protect the people, laborers, kind of thing. But Ranil Wickremesinghe wanted to completely convert it to a neoliberal system and give much room to the investors come and to invest whatever they want. When the minister declared a area as an economic zone, then whoever comes to invest there are not bound by the general laws. So they can bring whatever investment to there. At the same time, they can do whatever they want during these zones. So that's a one end.
But there are certain regulations.
But most of the regulations are pro-investor. That's a one end. The other end was completely closed economy. So even left parties are not in that view. So we are not, for a moment, we are not saying the completely covered economy could be, it's not sustainable. But we have to go to middle path. So while protecting the environment, while protecting the labor rights, there must be a certain economy that government should always interfere with. The objective of Ranil Wickremesinghe and this government, completely the government, but they frame it like this: government should not do business, government should completely give room independent to investors. So that is very dangerous. That is very dangerous. So now, for instance, now certain even these free trade zones, the union busting is one of the main issue. They don't allow the workers to form unions. Forming unions is not doing strikes. Forming union means that is to protect the labor's right. So they completely want to remove that part. So that kind of situation is there now. As you said, when J.R. Jayawardena introducing these free trade zones after Colombo plan or these kind of things, he believed through that there will be more investment in Sri Lanka and economy will be grown. But that because now, as you said, why investors should decide to come to Sri Lanka passing Malaysia or Singapore or Philippines? Then they want cheap labor. They want minimum environmental regulations. If we are willing to offer that, they will come. They will come. So, as people, as workers in this society, are we willing to do that? Then only we need a dialogue. How we, while protecting the environment, while protecting the labor right, how we attract these investments. Otherwise, if you are giving to that the freedom or whatever room them to come here and do whatever thing, that is not favorable to people and favorable to country as well. So that's why we need a proper policy. I don't feel this government has that kind of policy or strategy.
So the need is for more dialogue on all these national questions. And on that note, I'm afraid we are out of time. My thanks to Mr. Nuwan Bopage, attorney at law and National Executive Committee member of the People's Struggle Alliance. Nice to have you on the show again.
Thank you,
Nuwan. And thank you to you at home for watching. Don't go away because the news is coming up next. Have a great evening.